Hello everyone. So back to DevOps series. We are learning. We have already learned uh, in object parts. In objects, we have learned two objects called pods. How to create pods and what is pods, and what it is. What is the use of these pods and how we can implement it. Everything we have seen already in the previous video. If you have not seen the previous video, you can go to my playlist and watch the Kubernetes series, which is like 1, 2, 3. I have serialized those videos in this manner. So the ports objects we have already learned, and second we have also we have learned something called replica and replica set. So replica set we have learned. So today we will talk about something called deployment. What is deployment object? How it is getting implemented, and what is the use of this? And the next we will see what is called is services. These two are very important objects in the Kubernetes, where we will see how deployments works and how services works and what is the use of these objects in the Kubernetes. So basically, before going to that, I'll define you like what is the like port and target port and node port, the difference between, because this is very important question and this is the interview question as well. So what is target port and what is node port? What is the difference actually? They will ask. So in the interview, they will ask there are like what is the difference between all these three. So the port, what is port is it is just expose the Kubernetes service on the specified port within the cluster. Other ports within the cluster communicate with this like port. So what is the port meaning? So I'll just explain you by picture so that in definition it is there. But yeah, I'll show you in picture. So this is the, just 1 minute. So yeah, so port is nothing. Port will be in the pod level, pod level, where is the application is there, no? So this is called port. Okay, and this port will be communicated only between these two pods. Okay, so these two application it will be communicated internally. Outside it cannot communicate. And what is target port is? The target port is the port on which the service will be send request, and your uh, port will be listening to that, listening on. Okay, your application in the container will need to be listening on this port also. So what is happen? So suppose and node port is was it exposes a service externally to the cluster by means of the target node's IP. So here sits the target port. Okay, I'll just write in short TP. You can understand. And here is coming as node port outside. So port is like you can say it is a port level. It is the application level. Inside application there will be multiple like multiple what you call is multiple module will be there. Suppose for something you are using DB, and DB it should be communicated with each other. Otherwise the connection will be lost, right? So if these thing is communicating internally, this cluster, this pod and this pod, then that means this is the this pod we will call it as just a pod. And target pod is nothing but it's a pod in which the service will send request to that your pod will be listening on. Okay. So I'll tell you the service first, like how when we are creating service, then target pod you will understand better way. So it is a pod on which the service will send request. This target port is nothing but the some thing like which is service sending request to on. Okay, and the node port is the exposes a service externally to the cluster. Yeah, so node port is nothing but this port will be exposes to the cluster, complete cluster. It will be exposes, and you can uh, you can use this node port like in your browser, and you can access all this application module and whatever you want to do. Okay, so this is the basic difference port and target port and node port. Better understanding we can see by doing lab itself. So no problem, if when I will do lab I'll tell you like the difference. So let's go for the this deployment and service object. Yeah, so at last I'll show you these difference by doing lab. So yeah, just we will going for this. What is deployment service? So deployment object, what is sorry deployment object, what it is. So let's see what are deployment object in Kubernetes. So this is very like important object in the Kubernetes. You cannot ignore this, and this is important as well. So a Kubernetes deployment is a resource object in Kubernetes that provides declarative updates to application. If you a deployment allows you to describe an application's lifecycle, such as which image to use for the app, the number of ports there should be, and the way in which they should be updated. In simple language, I'll explain you by giving some pictorial like some picture. So yeah, so suppose I am using some application, some cluster already is there in Kubernetes. Okay, so I want to uh, these are the old application. Okay, I want to add some features over there. So after adding features, if we want to push it into Kubernetes, if you want to make live in Kubernetes, so this thing sorry for interrupting. So this is old version. Okay, old version apps. So now I have made changes, and what I can do, the like we can do what we can do, we can just keep it down all this application, and then we can push it to new applications, right? But the problem is what, you cannot make it down for a second also. In the big organization it is a problematic thing. So it should be not down for a second also. This is a there for them, time is money. This is money loss directly. So if 1 second also it will be down, no, then there will be a crore of some loss. Suppose in airlines, how many people are doing this thing, booking the ticket and all. Suppose e-commerce, how many people are buying all over world. So it cannot be down for a second also. So in that purpose we have deployment objects, where what we will do, we will define our application new versions, and what we can do, what will happen the moment first it will be up. Okay, it will be up first, new versions. Okay, new version. Okay, so it will be up, then this will be down. Okay, then this will be down. Same thing will happen here as well. It will be up, then the old one will be down. So in that if this is going up and right, and it is getting down, the moment it is not getting closed, it is not getting down for a second also. That is the advantage of deployment object. So we will see how we can implement. Let's check by doing lab. So we'll check it. So I'm just opening this minikube. So yeah, so minikube is now off. power is off. So now we'll go for Kubernetes and take this directory and go for command prompt. Just go to that directory and minikube start. Oh, sorry, minikube start. So it will be starting minikube. So I'll explain you the deployment file, like deployment YAML file, how I have written all this YAML file. So yeah, you can see this is the YAML file. So API version for all we are writing the same. Here we used to we need to use kind as a deployment because we are creating for deployment. And metadata we can give the name and label. Okay, and the specification, in the specification part we are giving template, whereas the metadata is same, like name is that is same, and label also it should be same. Specification again we are adding a specification for the container. Okay, so we are taking this container from what do you call
Just for 1 second. So this is the default container which is there available in the Docker Hub, and replicas we are making 3 replica set, and this is selector is node app. Selector, why you are using selector is nothing but it should be the same name as a uh, in the label. Label and selector, these both are related. Whatever you have given in label now, that should be in selector. Okay, so match label should be, the name should be app equals to node app. That should be same. So this is the actually deployment object. So yeah, so let's check if it is minikube status. Yeah, this is running, so there is no problem. So now you can see kubectl get all. If you'll see, there is nothing, one service only is there. So what you can do, kubectl create a hyphen f, sorry, deployment dot yml. Okay, so the moment I'm just running that YAML file. So you can see now deployment app nodes deployment created. Now if you see kubectl get all, see replica set is created, and then this three replica set has been created, 3 pod. Okay, and this deployment also get created, and there it is saying 3 pod is there, and out of three is ready, and 3 is up to date, 3 is available. Okay, so and replica set is also created, desired 3 is current, and 3 is ready. Okay, so what is happening, I'll delete this. Okay, suppose this is, I'll stop this kubectl delete. Okay, this got deleted pod, but if you'll see, if you'll notice, this 16s7 will be not there, but another one will be created at the same time. See, another has been created in 12 seconds ago. This is what happened if you have kill like if you are in deployment, if you are giving you have to define all the images and all here. So if you are latest version, if you are doing, then you have to define here everything. Kubectl, if you'll see in detail, describe this deployment. Okay,
Okay, kubectl. Yeah. So you can see complete details of this deployment file. Okay. So in this deployment file, we can check what we can check. We can check is these three are okay. Get all where okay. kubectl describe, yeah, from here. This is the name of the what you call deployment. Node app deployment. Namespace is default. So namespace we I will define you. There is nothing but namespace is nothing but the place where we are keeping this thing. So this is default. It is taking creation time. At what time it got created, and labels is equal to app equal to node type is front end. So these are the annotation you can check. And the image, which image we have used, HTTPD 2.4 from the Docker Hub. So you can say available true and all everything you can see here. Okay. So this is the basically deployment. Now we'll go for services. So if you'll go for what is services? What is service object in Kubernetes? Kubernetes service is a logical abstraction of deployed group of pods in a cluster which all perform the same function. Since pods are ephemeral, a service enables a group of pods which provide a specific function, web service image processing, to be assigned a name and unique IP address, cluster IP. So what is service is, service is nothing but you can tell we are just exposing. We have deployed, suppose we have deployed three pods. These three pods having three different IPs, not possible to access app with the ID with three different ID, right? Okay, I'll just explain you in the this thing. Okay, so suppose we have three pods. Okay, these three pod will be having IP address for them. This is the port actually. You can say pod IP address is nothing but port. But from external if like these are interlinked, if you want to use this thing in outside this, then for each IP address we need to fetch, like, then that is not possible. There should be some common IP address from where we can access our application, right? Only one application IP should be there, which should be accessible for all, like common. Okay. So because of that purpose, we are using services. So if you will see what is services, create one common IP from which we can access the application, and one cluster IP also created which talks internally. So what services will do? There he will do two things. He will create one cluster IP. He will create one common IP. Just name it common IP. Common IP you can use like externally in a browser, and you can access all the this thing application what you call application, you can access your application. But cluster IP, what it is doing, it will be fetching each IP, each node, each pod, you can say each pod's IP is will be communicating. It is communicating this pod as well. It is communicating this pod as well. It is communicating this pod as well. Okay, and then it is giving the response to the common IP, and common IP will be accessible from the external. This is what happening internally. So I'll show you like kubectl create Even service file is there. So in service file, if you'll see, so where is service file? So service file, if you'll see, yeah, service YAML file. So here we are using kind as a service, metadata same as name, specification is node port. Here we have to give the IP address. What is not IP, port address, like port it's 80. So here we are giving target port as 80, port as 80, node port as 30,008. So these thing, you here comes the difference between port, target port and the node port. So what does it mean? I'll tell you. So target port and port might be the same, but node port is always in 30,000 format. So this port will be externally accessible. So this is what. So if you run this command, kubectl create -f service .yml, service will be created. Now give me 1 second. So yeah, we can see we have created services.
Just 1 second. Yeah. The moment you will run this command, no, kubectl -o wide get ports. So these are the IP addresses for each port. It is creating automatically. We should not do anything. Okay. But what I am trying to explain, when you will check kubectl -o wide get services, that services you can see there is two thing. One is cluster IP. It is installed, like cluster IP has been created and the node port has been created. So in the node port, it is 80 is taking, we have given 80, and 3008 we have given as in our service. So this is the port which it will be created. Okay. So basically this is the node port. Node port, it is being created, and the cluster IP which will communicate internally. Okay. And node port which will communicate it external things. So this is the IP address. So we can like check this thing how it is running or not. So in I will explain you in the next video. So that's all for today. But yeah, I'll explain you like how it is working, how it is running. We can expo like externally we can access those things. I'll show you in the next video. Thank you.